So thank you for coming at 2:15 on Friday. You made it. Congratulations. This is your last hour of TC, and we're going to make it count. All right? So we are here for Admin Insights. How many of you folks are already Tableau Online customers? Almost everybody? Okay. What I'm showing you is a Tableau Online feature. So the server customers, who's got Tableau Server? Okay. You could do something like this on Tableau Server as well. I'm going to talk to you about this. So have any of you folks for Server seen Matt Coles speak with his community data sources? Okay. I'll fill you in as we go to see how this applies to Server. What we're going to do here, I'm a product manager on Tableau Online. And this talk, we're going to show you how you can be successful with your Tableau Online deployment. So what if I told you there was a way to show to all of your management how popular your Tableau Online site is, or how popular your site is? Which workbooks are the most popular? How trends are happening over time to show how successful you've been there. And for those of you, are you administrators or in charge of your deployments or admins? And how many of you would like to have raises, bonuses, and promotions for how great you did, for telling people you bought Tableau and you got it rolled out, right? So that's what this feature is all about, making you successful. And in 1 hour, I am going to show you 4 things that you could do at home, right when you get home, to get yourself closer to those raises, bonuses, and promotions. Okay? So this is demo-driven. I'm going to have 4 demos. There will be time for Q&A at the end of each demo. So it's Azzy, right? We'll have the mic to do the running. Yeah, there's Azzy right there. We are live streaming, so please, for the Q&A, do use the mic. So folks on the internet, welcome folks on the internet, can hear all of your questions. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what's next. So Admin Insights. For those of you that come from on-premise, you know about the repository, or you know about Postgres. Anybody? Yeah, okay, we're nodding along. Sort of. Anytime you do something in Tableau, you look at a viz, you log in, you access a data source. All of this event data gets written to a thing called the repository. And what we do in Tableau Online, which is very convenient, is we take this data and we curate it into 2 different data sources for you. One of them that we have is called users. So it gives you all the information about who your users are, what's their login sort of information, their license, when they last logged on, these activities. We also have the event data as well, which is focused for the last 90 days, the content on your site, who's been accessing it, okay? So for Tableau Online, we have a project, and I'll show it to you very briefly. How many of you have seen Admin Insights before? A few of you. Okay. Don't know what to do with it? You're in the right place. We got 56 minutes to give you 4 things you could do at home. So we'll get that started for you. For you folks using Tableau Server, okay, there are some community data sources on GitHub. Come see me later. I'll get your email. I think it's not in the resources slide. I'll try to make sure it's posted for you. Because Matt Coles created them. TS users and TS events are available on-prem. You just have to install them on your server, and then you could do something. You could do the exact same steps that we have here. Okay? So, great. Something for everybody. So the first thing, we have the starter workbook is just for Tableau Online. What's the first thing we need to do to make ourselves successful on the site? We need to have our users log in, okay? So you make it this dashboard, you send an email, in Tableau Online, they have to click the email to log into the site. I met a customer, I'll give him a fake name, okay, Greg. Okay, Greg was telling me hey, Kathy, I have this problem. All my users come to me and they say they lost the activation email. I don't know how to log into my site. Greg's like, I have no way to tell who is logged in, who hasn't, right? How can I help them out? Admin Insights. So our Admin Insights starter, which I'll show you right now, doesn't quite give you the information for who last logged in, but it's downloadable, completely customizable, and you can change it. So I am going to show you how to do this in about 3 to 5 minutes, and you could do this at home. I'm going to try and be graceful here. To the demo. Yay! All right, good. We got some energy going here. So this is my Tableau Online site. For those of you, I'll just show this really quickly since you all haven't got started here. The site status page is where you start off in. So if you're a site administrator, you get all these down here. You go to site status, and this is where your Admin Insights project is to get started. Okay, for navigating, you click here. Okay, I put some bonus things in my Admin Insights project. I'll talk to you about these as I go, but we'll start with the starter that everybody has. So here's the overview. For those of you that have seen admin views on the server, they're a little different from the admin views. They're based on 90 days of data. It's in an extract. And I'll just show you on my site. I'll give you a quick walkthrough here. The hockey stick adoption on my site. Somehow in TC week, my demos have been very popular. Amazing. And if you look at the traffic and adoption drill down here, right after the keynotes, those folks are going to the booth and looking at my site. So this is the kind of thing, yeah, that you could do with the starter. One thing that we're looking for is login activity. All right. So here in the bottom right-hand corner, I've got my list of users and the date that they last logged in. Okay? Here's the problem. I am looking for users that haven't logged in. So this isn't going to work for me, but I can change it to make it work for me. Okay, so I'm going to go out of the full screen mode. I can download this workbook. Okay, I'm showing you that just because it's there, but I've got one that I prepared for you. And a special message for my users that I have. This is, okay, everybody else is doing it, why aren't you? I just need to get a list. So here's my sheet, okay? And now we've got a filter over here. It was set up. It shows the maximum days since the last login. These filters you can modify to get a null value, okay? And those are the users that haven't signed in. Okay, so there we go. And then all of these starter workbooks, we did a little bit of a reno from our admin views. We made sure that they're actionable. So we set up a dashboard action here so that you can email these folks. So here's my email. Here's my special message. And they're ready to go. So I won't spam them. I've done this demo a lot of times. They already hate me. I don't know if they're going to log in. But that's what we do to get those users back and engaged. So let me give you the summary here to the slides. Again, this will be posted. So we just changed the login user breakdown and have folks use the dashboard action to email. So that was less than 5 minutes. You can do it at home. Any questions? on this demo. Azzy, please. Thank you.
So I've used this,
Mm-hmm.
but what would be really helpful, and I don't know if it could be added, is to know which users are members of which permission groups, and I can't see that is in any of the data sources there.
That's correct. It's not in the data sources there today. So at the end of the talk, I'll talk about what's next. Perfect.
I started to explore this the other day, and I was noticing my personal logins as listed as 1, and I'm curious, knowing that I go in every day, how the data set's dealing with like the single sign-on that we use for Tableau Online, and will that impact across all my users and how that works?
So I think the logins are for a session, right? Sessions are good for 30 days. I think they can be good for up to 30 days, right? So you've logged in one time, but you'd probably see other activities for your name as well for that day if you've accessed, if you were published or access to data source, so you could see those activities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Oh, this is the detail, like a lot of detail, in case you need this. All right, so y'all are busy people, right? You don't want to be doing this all on your own, right? Generating reports, emailing them to people, this is very tedious, right? This data isn't any good unless you share it. And I'll tell you a story about another woman I met, Julia, let's say. Julia works at a large academic institution. And the way that she deployed her Tableau Online site was she gave it to every member in the department, right? And said, oh, the departments will figure out how to adopt it, right? This is how it works in academia. So I went and met with Julia and showed her the stats for her Tableau Online site, and she was shocked. Oh, this self-service deployment isn't working, right? I need to have a community and a team, right, to work with me to help, drive these metrics forward, right? But without the data that she could share, and she shared it with her department chair straight away and the other folks that were there to help work together to move it forward, right? So this data can empower folks, but only if you share it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a project that you could use for sharing securely, okay? And we're going to make a really simple dashboard. And again, this is the one that you forward to your boss for your raises and your promotions every month, and you don't even need to do it. You just subscribe your boss to it. Set it and forget it, all right? This one's going to be a little bit more complex than the last demo, but it's worth it. Woohoo. So let's start with creating a project for sharing. I ran this morning. Somehow I got a beta. I'm not supposed to be showing you this. So pretend you didn't see the UI, but we'll get you there. We're going to create a project for sharing. Okay. Okay, so here is my project. Did any of you see, are you Tableau Online administrators? Did you see Jonathan Varkovitsky and Evan Slotnick? They did something for Tableau Online administration earlier. And what I'm going to show is the practice that they have for content permissions, best practices. And it's the same for Tableau Server as well. Top-level projects, right? If you need separate security permissions, have a top-level project. You're going to lock permissions to the project, and we're going to set up the permissions so that you could do row security, right? And the reason, why do we do this? It seems like a lot. So I want you to imagine that your company is being acquired by Salesforce. And if your company is being acquired by Salesforce, how do you want your employees to learn about this? Do you want your employees to go to TS events and see that Salesforce acquisition prep is the trending sheet of the week, right? No. So, those TS events data source have all the content on your site. So use row security to make sure folks can only see what they're supposed to see, either the aggregates or the things that they own. Okay, so I'm going to set up those permissions right now. And again, this is the part, I'm going to show you screenshots in your contemporary UI. So I'm locking the permissions to the project. And then the workbook permissions, we're going to set them for row security, okay? I'm just going to use this all users group. In real life, you'd use different groups, but all my users get this. We are going to explicitly deny permissions. This one's for web authoring. No web authoring to delete your filters. No downloading full data. No downloading workbooks. No saving. And no trashing your stuff. Okay, now my project's all set, I can publish it. So let's think about what a really simple dashboard looks like. I'm going to use the band technique, some big goal numbers, and let folks see, hey, here are the licenses that I've allocated, okay? These are the users that have activated their seats. And again, the hockey stick level growth that's happening on this site, this is fantastic. I want to make sure everybody sees this, okay? So is this a download from the admin server? When you get to your Admin Insights project, you can create this yourself based on the data sources. So unfortunately, these workbooks can't be shared because they're locked to the Tableau Online site. But when we get back to the review slides, just take pictures. I want you to feel confident that you could recreate this in an hour at home, okay? So this one, for the percentage occupied, I'm gonna use the TS users data source, okay? And again, we use TS users because it has the login information. Excuse me, I'm gonna try and zoom in over here. Okay? And so I don't have to do math here. I'm doing the percent occupied for the licenses. And we have these measures come out of the box for you on the data source. So as soon as you connect to TS users, you'll see these calculations for you ready to use. So we know how many are occupied for creators, explorers, and a sum for you. And we also know how many that you have. And I'll show you, I did a percentage occupied. That just takes two of these measures together that we've already created for you. It's pretty simple. You just take the total occupied over the total allowed. Okay? I'm going to make a big old number. So we just got to make sure that's not aggregated. We want to see it from outer space. Ooh. Okay, so here's our percentage occupied. Percentage activated is a little bit more complex. Okay, this is zoomed in. Again, we're using TS users, but we have to think a little bit harder when we're doing percentage activated. And the reason why is because you can unlicense users from your site. So for example, when an employee leaves your company, right, you'll just unlicense them because they don't need to log into your site anymore, right? But that user may have logged into your Tableau Online site all the time, right? So we want to exclude all of those users from our counts, right? When we're looking at percentage activated, we want to think about those folks that could possibly log into our site and make sure that we're only counting those. So we're going to use 2 helper measures, or 1 helper measure, it's actually a dimension, on TS users here. So this is our last login. Okay, and we're going to use one more field that we have in our TS users data source here. These fields, you have to see me later to see if those are the ones that are available on Matt Cole's data sources, but they could be calculated in the same way. So we exclude the unlicensed users and just keep the last login date for that, and then we can aggregate off there, okay? And then once we've got that, our percentage activated becomes a lot easier. So we just count the last login date for all of the licensed users, and then take the max is just to aggregate it, okay, over the occupied licenses. And again, we want to see this from outer space. Woohoo. Yeah, 2/3 of the way there. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to show our hockey stick growth. So I'm switching data sources right here. So now I'm done with users. I'm looking at my site activity. I need TS events. So let me switch data sources up here. And, to count, we're going to look at the event date. Right, that's what I was showing over time. Again, this is 90 days of data. So something to make it look nice is if you do it week by week, it'll give you about the right number of marks. So we're just gonna stick this on here. We'll make it a week. We're gonna get the number of events. Cool. This actually shows you all event types if I don't filter it, right? And what I showed you on the other sheet is I showed you 2 types that really demonstrate like what the activity is like on your site. So login and accessing views. So you can set this up as a filter. All of this is in TS events here. We have an event name field. So if you look at all of the data here, oh, come on. For the events, right? We've got the event names for filtering. And this gives you an idea of all of the activities. Okay, downloading, logging in, moving. So a variety of them. Let's take 2. We'll put it on color. All right. So now I've got this here. You combine them into a dashboard. You could do that at home. And then I'll publish this to my project that I just created so that everybody can see it. So my TC19 stats. Okay. Permissions are locked to the project. I'm just going to take the dashboards for now. Okay. Beautiful. So I've shared it. My boss can read it. My boss never logs in. He reads his email. Does he? I'll pretend he reads his email. So what I could do is subscribe users from here. I did that really quickly, so let me do this again. The subscribe button is right up here in web authoring. When I click subscribe, I can add my group. Everybody gets to look at this. This is fantastic. And I'm going to set a schedule. So I don't want to spam them. I do want them to read my emails from time to time. So I'm going to send this just once a month. It doesn't change that much. And I'm going to show you a trick for Admin Insights, okay? What happens with Admin Insights right now is the data is refreshed every day. And it goes and says, hey, at midnight, right, I'm going to wait for all of the events till midnight. We have an ETL job in the background that goes and writes it to a database. And then we create the extracts that are published to everybody's site individually. So nobody can see anybody else's data because you have a personal extract on your site. But this process takes a little while, so your data is not super fresh. If you want to see a full month of data on the last day of the month, send it on the 2nd of the month. And that way you'll be sure that you capture everything from the month previous. Okay? Subscribe. And those 2 subscribers I have invalid email addresses in my group. Okay,
So let's, back to the slides.
so to review, we created a project, we set the permissions, we created our dashboard, and subscribed other users. This is the UI that you're used to seeing on Tableau Online or Tableau Server. So let me show you how you set the permissions again here. Edit the content permissions for your new project. Lock them to the project as a best practice. And set permissions for row security. 3 steps. And then we made some big numbers. We made the event summary, and we published and subscribed the users. Okay? Questions about demo number 2? Yes, sir. Oh, we've got the mic coming.
At the end of the demo, you set up a subscription.
Yes.
Would that then report as an event view in that data in the future?
Right.
Or is it a
So
different event type?
yes, the event name in there, if you scroll to the bottom of the event names, there's a send subscription email. I could have checked that, but check that one. It's there.
Thank you.
Questions? All right, we're halfway home. We got this one here. So now, y'all aren't the only ones writing vizzes on your site, right? You've got a number of different analysts publishing workbooks for their own set of users, and you don't know all the people that are reading these, right? The content owners and the authors are the ones that know the audience for their vizzes the most. So we need to empower those folks to help them find out, hey, are people using my dashboards, right? Did I waste my time writing them? You know, there will be other enhancements to do, but we want to make sure that we empower them to grow, to grow their vizzes and grow keep themselves up to date. So we're going to use row security to share this securely, share the stats securely with content owners so that they can trust the data. To the demo. So here's an example of a usage viz. All right. What I did is I have published a lot of content to my site, okay, obviously. And it's very popular content, terrifically popular. So it makes me feel good to see this, okay? I am an administrator, but I don't want everybody to be able to see their own content. So let's look at Kathy's test account. And I can customize it. So when I publish this workbook, folks can just see their own vizzes, okay? How many of you folks have used row security before? Oh, good. Okay, so it's not scary. I felt scared when I first set it up. It was easy. So I'm back on TS events, right? So this is the same data source, I'm looking at event data. I need a measure to help me out, right? Because I'm going to filter for just that content owner. So let me show you a little bit about the items that we have here. If I look at my TS events data source, I have a number of fields that tell me about the items that are available for my events. Okay, so an item name can be a workbook or a viz or a data source. Okay, I'm using views. And each of them has an email, right? So this is the owner of the viz. So I can filter to just that person, and I can find out about the project as well, other information. So because I have this item owner email, I can create a measure to use that for filtering, right? So I already set this up. Find out if the user is a content owner. And one of the cool things about Tableau Online, sorry, Tableau server users, Tableau Online, this is great, you have emails as your username, right? So when you get the username in, it's just the email, and it's a simple equality operation here to get this set up. Okay, and then when I drop it onto the filters, I'll come back to why it says null here and set this to true. Okay, do you remember in my last demo I had login events as well? So login events aren't tied to workbooks, so they don't have items with owners in it as well, right? So if you have different event types that don't operate on items, you won't get that there. So let me filter to just those event types for accessing views so I get something valid here, okay? And again, this is back to the event name. And while I'm here, oops, sorry. Oh, this has been filtered already for mine because of the content owner. Ben, this is where your subscription event will be. Access view. Cool. I have events, or actually I'm going to put the item name on rows. And then we'll just put the number of events on columns. Let's sort it. Okay. We've got it. Folks can look at their event stats. No more clicking that little tiny "who has seen this viz" button, which is not nice. And then when we publish it to our project with the row security set to it, right, I'm just going to pull this one in now. You'll be able to see just the ones for this site. Let me show you. Come on. All right, so I see my row security, and I see just my activity. Okay, to the slides. The other slides. The other slides. Yes. So we just created a base viz. We set a measure with row security, and we published it to our shared project. And this is the calculation that we use. We use the TS events data source and do the row security on the owner email. All right, so questions about that one? Yes.
So in that case, if you're not the owner of that project, can you not see the activity on there?
That's right, and it's not the project owner that we're setting the security on, it's actually the owner of the workbook, right? So only in this view, only the workbook owners can see it. If you wanted to do something different, you could customize it differently.
So if I was the owner of like 10 different workbooks, it would just show me those 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Question?
How detailed is the event type can be? Like can it, because I think I saw like the open workbook, like you download the data, blah, blah, like, but can you see like filtering or like the clicks and stuff?
So we don't have the filtering or the click information available. Where you get to is you access the viz, and that's pretty much it.
We're running into issues integrating this with other projects. Do you have any best practices for that?
I'm sorry, creating?
Well, integrating the usage with, say, a specific manager's department. He wants to see usage for his department.
You're ready for demo number 4.
Okay.
I'm ready for demo number 4. Let's do it. So, I'm sorry, what was your name? Jennifer. Jennifer has a problem at her organization. She wants to have folks in her department see events just for their department, right? I've heard this from other customers as well, right? Like, hey, you know, I'm a busy admin as well. I don't want to drive site adoption. I want the managers, you know, to do this as well, right? Or, you know, I want to find champions in my organization so that we can help other teams be successful. Right? It's a very popular scenario. So what you need to do is join the event data with some other data in your organization, right? Because we at Tableau, we don't know anything about your company. We need you to supply this data. But once you join it together, you can get it going. And with Tableau Prep, in 2019.3, there is a new capability. You can connect to Tableau Online and use those data sources in Tableau Online or Tableau Server in your prep flows. Now you can use prep to join the admin data with your data sources and create views on top of that. And I'm going to show you that now. Yay. We're very secure. So I've opened Prep Builder here, and I've already set up a connection to my data source. Okay, so when I connect to my server here, I can see all of the data sources that I have on my Tableau Online site. So you all have that? Yes. So the other thing is, I know some of you folks may have heard about data management this week. One thing that's important to know, if you have a creator license, you have access to Tableau Prep. So you can go to Tableau's website, you can download Prep, and you can run the flows and publish to your Tableau Online site. What data management gives you is the ability to schedule the refresh, okay? So if you're just okay with doing it one-off, you can absolutely do that with your creator license today.
Is that data management different from the Conductor, which they were talking about a product called Conductor, if I'm right?
Right.
Which allowed us to run in these flows automatically. Is that different from this data management?
So data management has a few different components in it. So famously, it's the Tableau catalog. Prep Conductor is also included with the data management pack, and it is that Prep Conductor that allows you to schedule the flows.
That's a different product from Tableau that you purchased in addition to your license?
So I'll just repeat the question here. So is that a different product from Tableau that you purchase? It's an add-on, right? So if you need Prep Conductor, you want to schedule the refresh, you would purchase the data management add-on. Okay. So I'm either going to run this myself. What I did here is I just took some data in my organization that has some basic human resource data in it, and I did a join. So I'm sure your data sets have email in them. find one with an email. And then the join here, I'm looking for activity by user. And again, the usernames are email addresses. So that's where I do my join, okay? I'm not gonna step through all of this because these steps are particular for my data source. Your data is gonna look a little bit different. And then you can publish this as a data source to your site. And I'm gonna show you, choose the Admin Insights project here, right? And the reason why we choose the Admin Insights project is because it has all the data owned by all the people, right? And you don't necessarily want to share that with everybody, right? So we use the Admin Insights project for our data sources, and we use our sharing project for those aggregate views, okay? So that's the reason why we have two projects. So I've set this up on my site already. I set up a viz already. Hey, I can mess with it in web authoring. So here's my data source that I've connected to that matches the two together. And what I'm gonna do is try and find some champion organizations. So I am from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. My developers working with me on my team are based in Seattle and Kirkland. So are any of you familiar with Seattle and Kirkland? There's this area, they've got a big old lake, Lake Washington, and they're on opposite sides of the lake, right? And one way that's really effective to build up your site and drive adoption is to have folks that have been successful be your champions and meet with other teams and share their success, right? Why should we keep all the raises and bonuses and promotions to ourselves, right? The content owners also want to do this and help educate others on how they can be successful too, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check this out. It looks like Seattle has been, although they don't love this the same way I do, it's okay, I'll forgive them. It looks like we have a number of champions here that we can send across the lake to Kirkland to help educate them. You know, it would be cheaper because there's fewer people in Kirkland. We could send them to Seattle. People don't want to drive across this lake. It's a big barrier. But this is the kind of analysis that I can do with this site. And if I wanted to find who it was that I should actually send across the lake, I can mess with this a little bit more and find out that it's Dustin. Send him across, and that's fine. He actually lives in Shoreline. It's a short drive for him. And that's great, but this is the kind of thing that you could do. You could imagine, Jennifer, like now you could have your departments. I just use location and be able to build that out as well. So to the slides. Again, 2019.3 or later, connect to your TS events data source, join on the username, build your viz, and if you've got Prep Conductor, the data management pack, you could schedule that refresh. All right, question. We need a mic.
Sorry, I just missed why 2019.3 was important.
Oh, that's when, so this is a new thing.
Okay.
Connecting to Tableau server and being able to use those as a data source and prep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, sorry. It's because of the prep builder, not necessarily, because you still have the data sources, right? Even if you're behind 19.3.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss that.
Yeah, so if you have a Tableau Online site, you just click the button to create the project and they're there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Questions? All right. So what's next? Let's look into the future. So actually we're 45 minutes in, and I just did those 4 things in 1 hour that you could do back at home to help drive that site adoption. So do you feel confident that you could do this at home? Are there any more questions to say, like, okay? Because the other thing that I want to show you that you can feel confident is that we are continuing to improve admin insights. So we had this question earlier about what about the group information, right? And there's other events that get captured, right? What if I wanted to know how long it took these vizzes to load, right? What if I wanted to learn about my extract performance? Are my extracts being refreshed? Who knows? You will know, because there's lots more to come for admin insights. So my team and I are working very hard to bring in more data sources and more improvements to the admin insights starter. So what I'm going to show you right now, we released a few weeks ago an invitation-only beta for our new admin insights experience. And if I remember how to type my password, I will totally show it to you. This is security at its finest. Yes. All right, so I showed you I had some fancy stuff in my Admin Insights project. I also got invited to our beta. And this is our TS Web Requests data source. And this is the same thing Matt Coles had for those Tableau server users out there, TS Web Requests. And what this does is it shows me how long it takes to load the various viz times on my server, okay? We have not only a data source, but a starter workbook here as well, which I'm showing you. And we have some cool stuff in here. We set it up so that we can sort it. And you can find those vizzes that are slow loading. So for example, I found this global journey of refugees is one of the slower vizzes that I have on my site. Okay, so if I go here, what can I do with this information, right? Not only can I see the viz, okay, come on. You know how these tooltips go. You can email the viz owner and say, hey, is your dashboard, is it adhering to best practices, right? Because if it's not, you might want to work with that person to help write a speedier dashboard, right? Are they connecting to a slow database? Is your database slow, right? Do you need to contact your DBA and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Our users are having a bad experience, right? So this kind of information is there. Let me show you one thing that you don't need to use it for. You do not need to use it for monitoring, okay? In Tableau Online, we do all the monitoring for you, right? So this is our job to make sure you'll have a great experience. And I will show you that the days that I was having the worst load times on my site were not the busiest days, right? So this isn't like a traditional Tableau server where you expect to see traffic and load times correlated, right? Because the spikes in your traffic on your site are not the same as Tableau Online spikes, right? And we manage all that for you. So you don't need to do this. We provide this as information for you. Really what you want to be using this for is to work through this. So I can't commit to a date where it's coming to everybody's site here. You know, this is how this one works. If you're interested in this particular beta program, contact me later, okay? Because we should be able to add some more folks to the beta and get a lot of feedback on it. And the reason why I show you this is these will be published to your site and will become available to everybody once they're ready. So you won't need to wait for an Xbox product release. Just when they're ready, they're there. It's the magic of online, right? So this is the first new data source that we have, doing things like content as well. So if you want to say, hey, where's all my old content so that I can find it and delete it? You need a new data source for that, right? Because the limitation of the event data being 90 days is you can't see like the really old content. So be confident. I'm confident. I'm excited. We're working hard on this, and we want to make this work for you, okay? So you did it. This is the last session that you had to fill in a survey for, so please fill in the survey in the app. And these are the two folks that I talked about here. So Matt Coles is the one, if you are a Tableau server user, look into his works and also his repository. And then if you're doing the admin as well for projects and security, those folks are there. Thank you. Are there any more questions? Oh, you're done. Yay! You made it. Congratulations. Have a safe flight home, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day.